Jade. Hey everyone, it's me again. Today I got you a Warframe who's about to give birth.
So basically, Jade is Stoker's wife. تمام.
اه
ايه
تقريبا
ده؟
خلاص ماشي.
ايه ده؟ يعني ايه؟ ايه ده؟
اللي زي
بتاع مين ده؟
With the introduction of Jade Shadow, the newest Warframe got revealed, aka Jade. And she's actually pregnant. Who would have thought? But seriously, who is the stupid idiot who thought it was a good idea? I mean, seriously, why?
Fun fact though, if you did not know, Warframes can canonically, confirmed by Steve, CEO of Digital Extremes Warframe, can get pregnant, right? Let's take a look. Let's just find out.
Over there?
Chat asked if Warframes get pregnant, asking for a friend.
Okay.
It's a random question.
Yeah, so random. They
So
do.
far they haven't.
Yeah, I guess
but
not.
So
we don't
far.
know. Never say never.
Oh, hell yeah.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Anyways, let's see what Jade has to offer today. So let's start with her passive. Jade currently is the only Warframe to have 2 aura slots. Both of them will contribute to her max capacity. And yes, you can add aura forma to the other slots. So keep that in mind. Also, having an empty aura slot give you free starting energy, so basically it's a free preparation, a cheap version. Yeah. The second part of her passive is quite interesting. Her first and fourth abilities applies her judgments, which is a 15% damage vulnerability that lasts for 10 seconds. Moving on. Her first ability, Light's Judgment. This ability has 2 jobs. If you stand inside it, it heals you and your allies. You can throw this ability up to 5 times. The 6th time will remove the first time, if you get what I'm saying. Had to mention that the duration of the healing remains indefinitely as long as the ability stays on field. However, if you leave the marked area, a timer starts, and how long the duration of this timer scales with your ability duration. The second part is using this ability on an enemy makes them suffer the debuff of her passive and heat damage and status effect. That's a side effect. Moving on. Her second ability, Symphony of Mercy. Jade gets access to 3 different buffs that she can cycle through them, and these buffs snapshots to her abilities. And by her I mean her abilities only. Delmonth is not taken into consideration in this scenario. The first buff, named the Power of 7, that gives Jade the ability strength that scales with, you guessed it right, ability strength. Who would have thought? The second buff is Deathbringer, that gives you a weapon damage buff, and I'm quite sure it's a unique damage multiplier. Correct me if I'm wrong. The third buff, Spirit of Resilience, that reduces your shield recharge delay and regenerates your shields. Keep in mind that this buff doesn't work until your shield delay duration ends, so don't expect it to recharge instantly. Getting any of these buffs grants you iframes, and killing enemies affected by judgment refreshes the duration of these buffs. Moving on to her third ability, Ophanim Eyes, I think it sounds like that, not quite sure. Jade summons some eyes that slows enemies in cone-shaped line of sight, removing their armor and slowing them gradually. This means you don't get the full strip instantly, you need to keep looking at them. Increasing the strength will only increase the rate of armor stripping. The rate of slow is capped at 15%. There is the other version that allows you to revive your teammates, but let's be honest, we don't care about this. And by the way, the helmet is this version. I don't know why you would want to use something like that, but I think DE thinks what DE thinks. Last but not least, her fourth ability, Glory on High. Jade goes into the air, revealing her true powers, gaining damage reduction capped at 50% at 145% ability strength, and gaining access to her exalted weapon named Glory that has 2 firing modes. The primary fire explodes on contact and doesn't consume energy. However, the alt fire consumes energy and you can't actually use it unless you have enemies with judgment debuff. The weapon is pure heat, and the primary fire has 2 meters of explosion radius. However, the alt fire has 4 meters of explosion radius, and this scales with primed fulmination and range mods. Keep in mind that the alt fire doesn't take into consideration multi-shot, fire rate, cancel speed, so womp womp. And actually this is my actual voice, so moving on. The weapon is affected by secondary outburst, giving it a lot of crit chance and crit damage with the help of the ceramic dagger and melee crescendo, getting it 240% crit chance and crit damage. But this is completely optional, but I mean, why not? Also, Arcane Avenger is a nice buff to this exalted weapon since it suffers in terms of crit department, and it's super easy to activate since you can put our max rank combat discipline with her first ability. You see how this nice synergy works? Alright, we talked enough, so let's see some actual modding. But hang on a second, I see you haven't subscribed to the channel. Don't worry, I'm waiting for you. But on your way down, why don't you hit the like button? Satoru Gojo is looking at you. Thank you in advance. First, I need to let you know that my Jade has 2 Tau Forged Yellow Shard for casting speed, because this Warframe is pain in terms of casting speed, and I'm pretty sure it needs more for some reason, but I felt this one fine. Okay, the rest of the shards is up to you. First, let's see how I've built my Jade for nuking. Yep, this Warframe can nuke. Mr. Editor, please drop the build thingy. Thank you. In the auras. Yep, I said it. Auras. I have growing power for 25% ability strength and combat discipline to damage myself. And this will synergize with Arcane Avenger. Since I'm dealing damage to myself, I'm activating this Arcane to get flat 45% critical chance, which is flat, meaning it's added directly to the main crit chance buff I have already. In the Exilist, I have Aviator for some juicy damage reduction while I'm midair, since I'm going to be using my 4th ability as seen in the background footage. Grant continuity for some duration and to reduce the energy consumption on my 4th ability since it's a channel ability. Ogre Reach and Stretch to increase my range up to 175% for my 1st ability and 4th ability's explosions. Precision Intensify will be my only strength buff, and this will increase my base damage on my 4th ability. Prime Redirection to increase my shields, since I'm going to be using the 3rd buff of my 2nd ability that regenerates my shields. Rolling up for the 3 seconds of invulnerability and Status Cleanse to allow me to reposition and set up my combo once again. Prime Flow for the large energy pool, Equilibrium paired with the synth set on my companion that I'll show you later to sustain my energy since this Warframe is super energy hungry, and this will be paired with Arcane Energize to replenish my energy whenever I pick up an energy orb. And that's it. And by the way, this Warframe is forma efficient. I just have a lot, so I think you can get away with 1 forma and 1 normal forma. You're good to go. Next, I'll show you my Glories build. As mentioned, the alt fire of this weapon doesn't take into consideration fire rate or casting speed or multi-shot. So here's the build. I have Prime Fulmination to increase my explosion radius, Prime Expel Grenier to increase my damage toward this faction, Deep Freeze and Prime Heated Charge to give me the Blast. Yup baby, the Blast got reworked to create a chain reaction of explosions. Prime Pistol Gambit to increase my crit chance, Prime Target Cracker to increase my critical damage, and the crit chance buff will be paired with Arcane Avenger to give me 84% critical chance. If I'm wrong, you will see it popping up on the screen. Pathogen Rounds and Yolt to give me Corrosive to increase my raw power of this weapon. And that's it. Next, I'll show you my utility weapons and my companion. In my secondary, I have my Grimoire that carries the secondary outburst to give me the crit chance and crit damage, and I will tell you how I gain my combo. In terms of mods, all you need is Prime Fulmination to increase the explosion radius of this alt fire, and the Ogre set mods, Woman Vacation to give me some ability strength, and Caracantical Universal Orbs. My melee will be the Furax Raise for 2 reasons. First, let's take a look at the evolutions, and by the way, it doesn't matter, but I have this one, and this one. What I'm using here, just the Amalgam Furax body count to give me the 45% fire rate if I want to use Glory, no more firing, and sometimes I like to use this. And Melee Crescendo to give me the combo for my secondary outburst, and Crop Charge to help building my initial combo. The rest is there to help the weapon to do the finishers. My focus skill will be Vazarin just to group enemies and put them in the ground so I can do the ground finishers. If you don't want to use this, you can a strong primary and go with the ceramic dagger. You will lose some crit chance and crit damage from the outburst, but you will be fine. But in this case, you can go with Madurai or Zeneric. Either of them will work. Now, with my cutie companion, it depends on Profile with the build that I'm quite sure you have seen multiple times. What if I say if I don't want to use my fourth ability, I want to stay on the ground and use my weapons and blast things out, literally. In this case, I'm using Nourish, replacing my fourth ability to give me the viral elemental damage bonus and energy multiplier. In this case, I don't want to use Arcane Energize. So let's take a look at the build. In the Arcane slot, I have Arcane Avenger once again, paired with Combat Discipline, and Arcane Velocity in my second Arcane slot. The rest is the mods as you see. The second aura is Brief Respite for Energy Shield Conversion, since I will be casting a lot of abilities. Prime Sure-Footed for the less time on your butt. Prime Continuity to increase the duration of my abilities. Blind Rage to increase the ability strength, and this will be paired with Precision Intensify to increase my overall the overall strength on my Nourish. And I also get plenty of strength coming from my second abilities buff. And I forget to mention Ogre Secrets. Constitution to increase my duration even more, so I don't need to cast abilities more often. Prime Flow for the large energy pool, and for extra layer of energy sustainment, I have Energy Nexus. I'm rolling on for the 3 seconds of vulnerability and Cestlins, and you are good to go. But hey, come here. Yeah, come closer. Editor, zoom the thing. Yeah, what is the main damaging weapon in such a thing? Well, since I want to use Blast, I would want to use something like the Akiko, for example. Yeah, this weapon became a nice weapon for Warframe and weapon synergies. Count how much I say weapon. Let me know in the comments. So let's take a look at its build. Here we have Secondary Merciless to give me the base damage multiplier, Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Shot to give me more base damage and status chance, Sentient Surge to increase my critical chance, so I don't need to use any crit chance mods. If you don't have this augment, you can replace it with any crit chance mod, but trust me when I say get the augment. I'm sorry, but just get the augment. Here I have Prime Convulsion paired with Pathogen Rounds to give me the corrosive elemental damage and Heated Charge. I don't have the prime version because of the weapon's capacity, but if you can't fit it, just fit it. I just don't want to form up my weapon more. And this will be paired with Frostbite to give me the blast. And I already have Viral from Nourish, so enjoy the setup. The same companion again, and you don't need any utility weapons, just run and gun. And the focus school again is up to you in this time. There is no thing to take into consideration. But if you want some juicy casting speed and a bit more ability strength, just slot in Madurai. Yeah, why not? That's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, learned something new. Please consider subscribing, it's free, gotta judge your mind. Also, drop a like, it's very appreciated. Stay tuned and see you all next time in the next video. Bye bye.
And they say communication, safe relations, okay. Medicated.